Well, let's meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah. So let's get to know you. Who are you?
I'm Al-Ameen Ibrahim.
Okay.
I'm the CTO in FlexiSAF.
Okay, so
Yeah.
what does the CTO do? What do you do at FlexiSAF?
Yeah, so in FlexiSAF, we want to improve the quality of education using technology. So CTO, technology is at the center of everything. Mm-hmm. So as the CTO, I'm responsible for ensuring we apply the appropriate technology in delivering services to our customers.
Okay.
So we found out the two main challenges in education, especially in this part of the world, is lack of quality content, and also the means of delivering the quality content. So what that means is the vast majority of schools are public schools, right? And there isn't good quality teachers, right? So what they give the students, it's actually very, in most cases, poor. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the quality content that is missing. Okay. Yeah. So how do we solve that? Right, so it means we need quality content, and how can we do that? We need quality teachers. How feasible is it to have quality teachers everywhere? Mm. So the method, if you look at it, the method is actually very slow. It's been there for some time, but it's not really effective. So technology can play a very big role there. So technology can accelerate this process. So we can have quality content. I know there is a model. Someone can in America, they call it flip the classroom, okay. Right? So they build quality content, right, and they distribute it over internet, on intranet, and so on. So that's a model that addresses the lack of the quality content and also the accessibility to it. Yeah. So.
Okay. Okay. So as a CTO with FlexiSAF, right, do you guys sort of have certain technological tools that you use, or do you have certain frameworks that guide the products that you build from here? Like what's it like basically in terms of the tools that enable FlexiSAF to do what it does as a business?
Yeah, we use quite a number of tools. Okay. Yeah, and we also look at the current challenges or the current situation, what will work in terms of technology. Okay. We were having a chat earlier with some of the engineers, and we were looking at the one pictures from one event in 2012, G Nigeria, when we were invited to present FlexiSAF solution, right? Because we used Google Web Toolkit. And Google is organizing this event, so they wanted us to talk about it. And one of the Googlers, after our presentation, said, why? Because we were hosting the applications on premise, that's on school's local area network, this school management software. Mm-hmm. And he said, why not host it on the cloud? Why do you host it on premise? So then we explained, he might not maybe understand the challenges of lack of internet, or the cost of bandwidth was still very expensive. The mobile networks were not as common as now. So hosting it on internet would be a serious challenge for the schools because they have to provide this infrastructure. So that's a reality that we look at when we deploy our solutions. With time, with the internet is becoming common, people have accessibility and so on. We hosted it on cloud, and that is when we can truly scale. So, and that is another very important aspect. So what technologies, what tools do we use to help us scale this? So of course there's a lot of cloud services out there. There's a lot of architectures, right? So you always, for me it's an ongoing game. It's like a puzzle, right? You always get to a point and then you hit the next challenge or obstacle and you want to expand, right? So how do you really expand? So at the moment, we're really focused on optimization, application performance, optimization, performance monitoring, and so on. So we have tools, we have dashboards that show the performance metrics on these applications. We're also being proactive in terms of the monitoring. So whenever something happens, you wouldn't want the service to go down before you get complaints from clients. You would want to monitor, and so there are thresholds, there are key indicators that show something bad is happening here, so that we quickly jump into it. Yeah, so what we're actually open to a lot of tools. We don't really, we're not very particular. But most of our infrastructure is built on Java, enterprise Java. Yeah.
So looking at FlexiSAF, it's been a journey so far from the beginning days to what it is right now, right?
Yeah.
And from what you can tell as the son who has been at the very beginning, handling the technological operations of the company, what would you say it was then, and what can you say about what it is now?
Wow. So at the beginning, the truth is we had to do a lot of almost everything, right? So it wasn't, there was technology part, and that was, for us, that was the most exciting part, right? Writing code and all of that. But also there's the business part of it as well. So we had to do the marketing, the sales, we're doing a lot of that, a lot of traveling to sell the software. As one of the founder of Java, James Gosling, he said the whole essence of writing this code is to put food on the table, right? So one way or the other, there has to be some business behind it. So right now, how things have changed, there are a lot of frameworks, there are a lot of practices, you have a lot of quality engineers, you can get talent, right, even from outside the country, and we have a lot of engineers working remotely. We have some engineers in Germany we work with. So the right now it's about scaling in terms of structure, company structure, right? We've come a long way. So we want to from maybe 2 to 3 engineers writing all the code. Now we have over 25 software engineers writing all the code. Okay. So it's to put a structure, and once you get to this level, you worry about growth hierarchy, right? So you talk about appraisals, you talk about employment structure, you talk about all of that, employment processes and all of that. So it's really quite interesting.
Okay. So you talked about the next stage being how to scale, how to align a lot of the things that in terms of recruitment, in terms of structure. I mean, how all of them, a lot of different parts, right?
Absolutely.
How does technology integrate with all of this? Like, what's the role that technology plays in between these various components?
Okay, yeah, good question. So as a technology company, we try to solve our clients' needs or the challenges in education using technology. Also, we have our own needs within running the organization. So what we've realized, right, is technology is an enabler, right? So what is most important is to have the processes, right? And then you see how technology will help you implement those processes, simplify them. I'll give you an example. For instance, we're talking about appraisals, right? So what's the best way to appraise, to have a continuous appraisal process that is very effective, right? And that also, so effective here means the engineers understand what is important, right? What they're being appraised for. It's not like KPIs. So how do you, if you establish that process, how cumbersome is that process? How easy is it to replicate? How easy is it to implement elsewhere? Right? For instance, we have other branches. So, and then to look at the best tool. Sometimes you might even end up building a tool for it, right? Because if it's really important to the organization and you have engineers, capable engineers to build it, then you build the tool to solve that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
From the head of technology point of view,
Sure.
what would you? I'm sure you have a team of engineers that you manage and then you work with, right? What's the culture like between you and them, and then how does it play into the bigger
Picture.
brand, which is FlexiSAF company?
Yeah. So. Part of our core values, right, is to focus on the user. Teamwork. We really emphasize teamwork and all of that. So we try to have a very open culture or relationship, right? We do movie outings. We play a lot of games here and so on, and sometimes we even retreat in hotels, right? To when we have a very important project or steep deadline. And if you see how we all live there, right? It's like one big family. So they said the CTO is their dad, even though some of them are older than me. So I also ensure that they don't have any obstacles, right? In terms of their work, in terms of their lives, their family lives, and all of that. Yeah, so that those are things that you can't really separate from work. If someone has a challenge that is preventing him to work effectively, right? You really need to get personal sometimes and find out what are those challenges. Is it the commute? Is it the issues with rent, accommodation issues, family issues, and all of that? And really, you will just try to and like how we've started. You know someone who is also into programming. You have this cousin. You have this. We brought a lot of people that were close, so it wasn't like strictly formal. That's how a lot of startups begin. So we already had that connection from the beginning with a lot of the staff, right? Some of them are family, some of them are really close people we went to school with, and then we maintain that culture, up till now. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you the final question, and that's going to be what your background is as a person. Like, what background do you have to be in this position that you are right now? What background, what experience, and all of that?
Yeah, so for me, when I was growing up, when I was in school, frankly, I didn't really see myself in this kind of position, writing software and all of that. My background is electrical electronics engineering, and back in school, I realized, we had programming courses. I realized, programming courses are fun. But the turning point was when I went for my internship, right? So I went to a software company, and I actually, wow, this programming is nice, right? And I was learning a lot of programming and all of that. So I came back. We went to the same school with Faiz, right? We went to Abakar Tafawa Balewa University in Bauchi. Okay. And I knew Faiz has been programming ever since in school. People talk about, Faiz is writing Java, and that was 2000, since around 2002, 2003. Yeah, so I did my internship 2016, and so we were relating more, right? Because now I had some background, in writing software. So, and after that, it wasn't like planned. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get there. Yeah. We just knew that this software that we're building, schools need it, right? And that was our focus. Getting to know the clients, finding out more challenges and so on. And what really differentiated, we did a lot of the dirty work. We went to the school. Sometimes we get the records. We input the records ourselves for the entire school. Some are really schools with large populations, federal government colleges. So what stood out was the support they were getting. Right, we're always focused about the challenge. What is it? What's the challenge? We're always there, and also we understand the terrain. It's a solution that is custom made. We built it from scratch, so we understand the challenges of our institutions, from primary, secondary schools to tertiary institutions. So it actually works for them, right? So I think those are the key factors or key aspects we focused on, and that has been we've been making progress, and so it wasn't really. So up till now, when you ask me, I still feel it's not that long. The journey we have a lot of work to do.
Thank you so much. So, so just would you say the journey has been worth it so far for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, it's been worth it. Most especially when I look at the impact, right? In terms of the, initially when you think you have a lot of challenges trying to set up a company, people feel, just go and get a job. You can't. What do you know? What experience do you have? You haven't worked anywhere before. So how can you do it? How do you know? How can you employ people and pay them? And FlexiSAF, we didn't have like funding, right? At the initial stage, we never had any funding to. So how can you pay salaries? How can you hire people? Those are all the concerns. And I remember when our payroll reached about 6 million naira. Every month we have to pay 6 million. It was unbelievable, right? Wow, how can we sustain that? It means we have to get that. And the source of revenue is from the license, from these applications we sell to these schools. So how is it going to? Will we be able to sustain this? All of that. And I know some of the personal stuff that some of those engineers do at home, parents and so on. So it's actually, I think that's the biggest part of it that makes me feel everything is worth it after all.
Yeah, thank you so much. I can see that journey has been worth it from your expression. It's so obvious. So thank you so much. It's wonderful having this conversation with you.
Thank you.